Hey everyone, this is Kiki. Welcome to another Metal and High Heels interview. I'm here with CELLAR Darling. How are you guys doing tonight?
Very good.
Fine.
Cool. You just played here in Bochum, and it was a very cool show. I'm a little angry at you though because you didn't play my favorite song from your album,
which one?
Water.
Water.
Yeah,
That's my favorite song.
That's my favorite song.
That's
Yes.
pretty cool. Yeah, we only had half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to cram all the good ones into that, but
I'm actually trying to play a little bit faster so that we can cram the six
Wow.
songs.
yeah, please
6
don't
songs.
do that with Hermit because it's really hard.
Right.
Yeah, we're just gonna remind you.
Wow. I'm just going to jump into my questions. There's a lot going on for you right now. You're touring, and didn't you just also go through Russia with the Agonist and Serenia, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And after that, after this, right now with Elaine, after that, Laguna Coil. Did you expect to be so heavily booked right after the release?
Well, I didn't. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
I don't know if I expected, but we were planning for it for sure. So I'm glad it works out so far.
Yeah. Cool, very cool. Do you think you'll tour as headliner soon?
It would be cool. I mean, I actually like being the support because we are a new band and we want to, get a new crowd, get different people who don't know us to listen to our music. So I think that's an ideal spot for that mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. We already had a chat with you, Marlene, a couple months ago for our podcast. And so we already talked a little bit about the album, but you also told us that you, Anna, wrote all the stories and the lyrics. Where do you draw inspiration from?
From everywhere. It's not. It's hard to describe because the lyrics as well as also the music, they just pop up in my head. It's not a strained process where I sit down and I actually think about what I should do. It just kind of, it's there, and it's always there when life is just happening, when it stagnates and I'm in a good place. I don't do a lot, then I don't really have any ideas. I always need some kind of chaos and movement and emotions to get inspired.
Oh, cool. How was it for you, for the music, guys? Where do you get your inspiration from?
From everyday life, I don't know. It's really hard. I don't have like specific inspirations, but of course mainly music. Yeah, I listen to shitloads of music. So
What are
I
your favorite bands?
don't have any favorite bands.
Top 10.
No,
Top 5.
no, no. That's people always ask me, do you have a favorite? No, not really. I mostly like some songs of certain bands, and that's it. It's not like I follow other bands like all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think mainly music, but also everyday life, nature, air, water, beer. Beer is heavy influence, and yeah.
Cool. And we were just talking about Water, the song, and you write that from the perspective of the element water. That reminded me of Anneke with her new band Fjord. She wrote a song from the perspective of fire. Is there a connection? Do you think you're also influenced by artists like Anneke, for example?
That's a funny thing actually, because people were saying that my songs are very they sound like they're influenced by Anneke.
Yeah.
And they already said that before I actually knew her, which is pretty funny. And then we were touring with her, I think 4 years ago or something, and I absolutely fell in love with this woman because the voice, the personality, everything. And she is, now that I know her, she's a very big inspiration as a person and as a singer.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing. But I guess the songwriting and the lyrics, that's actually a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much attention do you pay to the lyrics when you listen to music yourselves?
It depends. I actually like to make up my own story when I listen to a song.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe sounds a bit pretentious, but I'm not really interested in what the person who wrote it was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only interested in what I'm feeling when I'm listening to it. And that's also how I like to write lyrics. I like to write them in a way so that the listener can kind of create his own image. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for you?
It's about the same for me, although it depends on the style of music. I think like a singer-songwriter, I would probably listen more to the lyrics because that's like a
The
big
focus.
part of the music itself. But like with, I don't know, death metal, I don't care if they're singing about death or
about
whatnot.
metal.
Or about yeah, or about metal.
Right.
So yeah, it really depends on the music. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I'm with her that I create my own story and my own feelings, my own personal connection to the song.
Mm-hmm. Nice. The same.
For me, I'm very much the drummer. For me, it's making music and listening is the same. It's more about energy
Mhm.
than inspiration or lyrics. So I have to say, I usually have no idea what the songs are about from the band's perspective when I listen to music. It's
Yeah.
different thing with us because the stories she makes up, I think, are awesome, and they kind of morph together while we make the song. Of course, we listen to it a lot, play it a lot, so that's a bit different. But
Yeah.
listening to music, not for me really.
But you like Bon Jovi lyrics.
Well, yes, of course. That's actually, thanks for the reminder. I have some tattooed, actually, but
Wow, lyrics,
Yeah.
cool.
Bon Jovi and maybe Lynyrd Skynyrd, those are two exceptions with the lyrics.
Okay, cool. Tell us a little bit about the cover of the album, the cover art.
It was created as a collaboration between Christopher Ruf, he's a Swiss artist, and Manuel Vargas Lepis, who is a Swiss photographer. And we wanted to combine like drawings, symbols with photography. So that was like the band's idea, because that each song has like a visual representation, because our music is very picturesque, it tells stories, and yeah, the other work was basically up to them. The graphic designer, he just got the songs and the lyrics, and he then created a symbol for each song. I didn't really have to tell him what to do, so that was great.
Wow,
that he
yeah.
just came up with stuff on his own. He also made the logo.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Manuel, with the photographer, we did a session with him together and came up with ideas for objects and stuff like that.
Cool.
That was fun.
Yes.
Very nice. So you are kind of the mastermind behind the band, right?
No, I have a lot of creative input, obviously, with music and lyrics, but that's only... a lot of people think that's the main thing of a band, but it's the whole... It's everything, you know. Us three, we are the band. There's no band leader. There's no mastermind. And if one of us would leave, the band would not exist anymore. That's what kind of makes us different from maybe other bands that have like a band leader. And, you know, everybody has his role, and we also write a lot together. We come up with ideas together, so
That's
yeah.
amazing. Very cool. We often talk about sexism in metal, and do you guys have kind of experiences in that? Some kind of I don't know, weird anecdote, or do you, Anna, feel like you have to prove yourself with your skills more and more? I mean, you are not only a multi-instrumentalist, you're also a producer. Do you have encountered some kind of discrimination? Not in that sense, but or difficulties or something like that?
Yeah, actually, no. I've been getting that question a lot, and what I'm noticing now, especially where we are from, is that sexism is a really big topic at the moment, and but people who are making it a big topic, they're the ones kind of, they're not receiving sexism, but they're watching it and talking about it, and as for me, you know, nothing like that has ever happened to me. I don't feel like I need to prove myself, so yeah, that's not a very interesting answer. Yeah,
I think maybe it's interesting from a, how do you say, viewer's perspective, because we have like our front of house woman is my girlfriend. She's also a girl, and we have a light girl.
Your girlfriend's a girl? That's weird.
Fun fact. And you know, it is like both those jobs are also very much male dominated, and both of them also, I see a lot of idiots around. Of course, they're everywhere, but neither of them perceive it as that. They're just all badass girls, and they don't prove themselves because they're girls, but because, you know, it's also very independent type of profession, as is musician. Maybe that's part of it. They're just used to doing their own thing, and not give much of a damn about what others think.
Cool, that's some nice insight. So, all of you were with Elevati for a long time, and you're still very young, obviously. So, if you had one piece of advice that you could give to your younger selves, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, what would you tell them?
It's a hard one, because I could say all kinds of...
Sorry, he missed the question.
If
we would tell our younger selves, like if we would give them some advice now in hindsight.
I think it's hard, because there could be potentially a lot of things, like don't drink so much, don't do drugs, all that crap. But you know, in the end, even all the bad stuff and all the wrong turns that you take, that those led us here. So, you know, I don't think there's much space for regret or thinking about the past or the future, because right now we're here and we feel great, and if we did something really stupid, maybe that's part of what led us here. So I would say I would just give myself a fist bump and say, do your thing.
Same, I would do it again the same way, actually. I think even the breakup with Elevate, there's no question, however we feel about Elevate now, there's no question we wouldn't be here if we didn't do those 10, 12
That's
years.
true. So you did everything right.
Actually, I would tell my younger self to never do the, what you call it, a fringe bangs.
Bangs.
I would tell myself, just don't do that, because I did it and it was the worst thing I ever did.
But then your younger self will think, but until I do it, I'll never know for sure.
That's true.
That's true.
So you guys have started touring and going to tour a lot, as we just said. How do you plan to keep yourselves healthy on the road?
Don't. That's not what you do on the road.
I'm actually much healthier now than I was on the previous tours, just because I'm a lead singer now and I kind of have to take it more serious. I don't drink as much, I don't smoke as much, I sleep more, but I also don't overdo it, because if you're really always up here and you're always worrying about your voice and about things, then you'll just get sick anyway. So I'm trying to get like a good balance of not giving a fuck and taking care of myself and kind of morphing those.
I think we're lucky on this tour though, because we actually started a couple of years ago, so we also started to like request vegetables instead of French fries for the dinner and stuff like that. And D-Lane is a very healthy band,
That's
so
awesome.
they get a lot of that. That's good. So we're trying to stay healthy. We started this tour in Russia. That was unfortunate because there was no healthy food, I think, for the whole tour.
But it was good.
It was good, yes.
It was really good.
But yeah, I guess it's just, you learn with the years.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a balance, because we're finally in a rock band. I always wanted to be in a rock band, so you can't just go, I'm not drinking, because,
Yeah.
I
Cool.
just eat whatever I see and I like. Not that shit. But it's good that we have two healthy guys and girls.
Yeah.
Some sports.
Yes. Well, not on this tour, but like on the upcoming tour, I think we're all planning to have some
Yeah, sure.
exercises, do some exercises, running.
Yeah,
No?
sure.
Well, it's
No,
planned,
we
but
should.
yeah,
We
yeah,
really
should.
should.
We've done it in the past.
Yeah, we've done it and we should do it again.
I mean, so far this tour is very like busy to us. When we arrive, we're like working all the time till of the show, like even now.
Yeah.
So if we find time, then yeah, sure.
Cool. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
Thanks for the interesting interview and
And the
thanks.
great review and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's a really cool website.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And buy the albums. We were just that's another cool topic. We were just talking with Georg from Serenity before, and he was telling us more or less how much money musicians receive from Spotify and other streaming services. What do you think about the topic? It's kind of controversial. Do you use Spotify yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Premium or not?
Premium.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
That,
That's Merlin's topic.
Yeah, sure. I have Spotify and Apple Music actually. I think it's amazing. I think the whole stuff about musicians receiving very little amounts is taken out of context and is misrepresented, especially for metal bands and rock bands and anyone else who's in a niche or in a genre where you really try and make it from ground up. Like we don't sign with a record label and have a marketing budget that will get us there. For us, it's amazing. It's fantastic. I think it's not just recovered the music industry. I think it's opened a whole new future.
yeah.
And with Elevated too, we realized that the revenues that are coming in are actually getting better than what it was back when physical was still the most
The main
relevant.
product. Yeah.
So I think it's all amazing.
Cool.
Basically.
Perfect. Do you guys actually still have day jobs, or are you already full-time musicians?
I have a side job back home, but like the band is the main thing.
Yeah. I think we were full time with Elevate and we've been working our asses off to get back there, but it's obviously very, very hard and a long process as a new band to
Yeah.
get back there.
Sure.
I just do studio work.
Well, it's pretty cool.
No, it's awesome. No, I love it, absolutely.
It's not just
Yeah.
for the rent too. Anna's
No.
actually really talented
Yeah.
producer, and I think you'll hear from her in that regard as well in the future.
That's very cool. So now I'm really done.